Okay, in lessons 17 and 18, we're going to be using basic facts to approximate quotients with two-digit divisors. So let's start right. We're going to also use what we used yesterday when we were trying to use fractions in order to divide by multiples of 10. On lesson 17's homework, the first one is done for you. Let's go ahead and go through it. Okay, the first thing you have to do is you are going to round your divisor. The divisor always has to be rounded first. So you can see they rounded 41 to 40. And they took 800 and it was closer to 800 to 900. I like writing it as a fraction. So that way I can line out the multiples of 10. Now I have 80 divided by 4. So 4 will go into 8 two times and I have my multiple of 10. So we know this would be approximately 20. On B, 23 is closer to 20. 617 would be 600. If I write it up as a fraction, I can take out my multiples of 10, and I have 60 divided by 2. I have a placement of 0. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So we know this is approximately 30. On C, they rounded 39 to 40, and they rounded 821 to 800. 800 over 40. Take out the multiples of 10, you end up with 80 divided by 4, which is equal to 20. On D, 400 is going to be, 552 is going to be closer to 50. 482 is going to be closer to 500. So we have 500 over 50. Take out our multiples of 10. We have 50 divided by 5, which equals 10. On E, we're going to start with our divisor. 48 is closer to 50. 531 would be closer to 500. 500 over 50. Take out our multiples of 10. Now we have 50 divided by 5, which would equal 10. On F, we're rounding 73 to 70. 141, we're going to round to 100. Now this is where we start to run into a little difficulty. If I write it as a fraction, I take it out. Now I've got 10 divided by 7. That's not going to work. So I'm looking for a compatible number. So I'm looking at the first two digits in this number. And I can see that when I'm looking at multiples of 7, 7, 14, 21. So 14. So instead of rounding it, I'm going to take a compatible number, which is 140. And now when I have 140 over 70, take out the multiple tens, I have 14 divided by 7, which gives us 2. So I know this is equal to 2. So when you round your dividend, if it is not a multiple that you can use your basic math fact, go back to your original number and find a multiple that is close to the number that you're working with. G. So we're going to take our dividend to 80. We took our divisor to 80. We're taking our dividend is closer to 500. So when I line them up, 500 over 80, take them out, I've got 50 divided by 8. Once again, this here is not a compatible number. So I'm going back up to here. And I'm looking for a multiple of 8 that's close to 47. And I know 8 times 6 is 48. So I'm going to go with 480. And now we have 480 divided by 80. Now I take out my tens. I've got 48 divided by 8, which is going to equal 6. Under H, they took it to 70. Now, notice they took it to 630. Let's go ahead, and if we rounded it normally, it would have went to 600. 600 over 70 brings us down to 60 divided by 7. Well, 60 is not a multiple of 7, but we know 63 would be. So that's why they went to 63. So now we have 63 divided by 7, which equals 9. I, 99 is closer to 100. 599 is close to 600. So we have 600 over 100. Take out our multiples of 10. We have 6 divided by 1, which is 6. J, we're starting with 26. That's closer to 30. 301 is close to 300. 300 over 30. We take out our multiples of 10. We have 30 divided by 3, which is 10. Okay, 81 is closer to 80. 729 is 700. We have 700 over 80. And I'm going to take out my 10s. Now I got 70 divided by 8. Well, I can tell right now that 70 isn't going to work. But I know 8 times 9 is 72. So I can take it to 72. Now when I took out my zeros, I got 72 divided by 8, which will give us 9. L, 25 is close to 30. 636 will be close to 600. 600 over 30. Take out our multiples of 10, and we got 60 divided by 30. Choose 60 divided by 3. Put our 0 down here. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So our answer is 20. On M, we have 89, which we're going to round to 90. 835, which we're going to round to 800. We have 800 over 90. Taking them out, and we're saying now we have 80 divided by 90. 80 divided by 9, Well, I know 81 is a multiple of 9. So 810 divided by 9, when I took out 81 divided by 9 would be 9. Because that would have been 810 over 90. Take out our multiples, which gave us 81 divided by 9. N, 72 is close to 70. 345 is close to 300. 300 over 70. Take out our multiples of 10. Now 30 is not a multiple of 7. Okay, we have 28 and 35. Well, I can see 28 is going to be closer. So I'm going to change it to 280 divided by 70. And 280 divided by 70 gives us 28 divided by 7, which will be 4. O, 11 is close to 10. 559 is close to 600. 600 over 10. Take out our multiples of 10. And we end up with 60 divided by 1, which is 60. Miss Johnson spent $611 buying lunch for 78 students. If all the lunches cost the same, about how much did she spend on each lunch? So I'm coming across Miss Johnson spent $611, that's important, buying lunch for 78 students. If all the lunches cost the same, tell me, I want to estimate, how much did she spend on each lunch? So about how much did she spend on each lunch? So I'm going to go to a diagram real quick. I can see the tape diagram here. And it says she spent $611 on 78 students. And it's wanting to know how much it is, how much for each student. Now I know that if I solve for the one student, I'll be able to, it would tell me for each student. And I can tell by this that I'm taking $611 and I'm going to divide that by 78. Now I know this about right here is telling me I'm estimating, so I'm going to take 78 close to 80, and 611 I'm going to take to 600. So when I write it as a fraction, I got 600 over 80. Taking out my multiples of 10, and I have 60 divided by 8. Well, I know 60 is not a multiple of 8. Okay? But I do know 8 times 7 is 56. 8 times 8 is 64. So I'm going to change this to 640 divided by 80. So 640 divided by 80, take out our multiples of 10. I've got 64 divided by 8, and I can tell she spent $8. She spent about $8 for each student. Now I could go back and check this real quick, because I know there's 78 students, and she spent about $8 each, so my answer should be approximately 611. So 8 times 8 is 64. There's 8 times 7 is 56, and 6 would be 62. Now they're not going to come out exactly just because I rounded them. Okay, but if I just like I rounded it, if I'd have rounded it to 80 times 8, okay, that'd have been 640, which is the same as our estimate we come up with. An oil well produces 172 gallons of oil every day. The standard oil barrel holds 42 gallons of oil. About how many barrels of oil will they need to produce in one day? Explain your thinking. So it says they produce 172 gallons every day. A standard oil barrel holds 42 gallons of oil. About how many barrels of oil will it produce in one day? Okay, well, using the tape diagram, I can see that has a total of 172 gallons, and I can see that each barrel is going to have 42 gallons. And the question is, how many barrels? Okay, so I can see with this that if I'm taking 172 gallons, dividing it by 42 gallons, it's going to tell me barrels. So I'm going to round my divisor. 42 goes to 40. Divided by 172 is going to be closer to 200. If I write as a fraction, I've got 200 over 40. Line out my multiples of 10. And I can see 20 divided by 4 is going to equal 5. So they will produce about 5 barrels a day. Now see if that makes sense. 172 gallons every day, 42 gallons of oil in one barrel. Wants to know how many barrels. Okay, so we knew that there's 5 barrels, 42 gallons each times 5, and if we estimated this in a multiplication, that would be 40 and 5, which equals 200, which is exactly what we estimated. All right, now lesson 18. In lesson 18, the only thing we're doing different is now we're doing okay, question G has us dividing 5,086 by 73. So once again, we're going to start by rounding our divisor 73. I'm going to round this to 5,000. Now I like doing my fraction so I can reduce it. And we're taking a multiple. Now I have 500 divided by 7. Now 50 is not a multiple of 7, But I do know 8 times 7 is 56. 7 times 7 is 49. So 49 would be closer than 56. So I'm going to round it to 4,900. And when we took our tens out of it, now we have 490 divided by 7. So 49 divided by 7 is 7, and our multiple of 10, so it would be approximately 70. On H, 81 was rounded to 80. 8,432 was rounded to 8,000. When we do our 8,000 over 80, we take it out, we get 800 divided by 8, which is 100. I, 89 is closer to 90. 9,032 is closer to 9,000. 9,000 divided by 90, taking out our multiples of 10. And we have 900 divided by 9, which is equal to 100.
Isabel Gray to the front office.
On J, 48 was closer to 50. 2,759 is closer to 3,000. We can see 3,000 over 50. Take out our multiples of 10. We have 30 divided by 5 is 6, and our multiple of 10, so it would be 60. 91 is closer to 90 on K. 8,194 rounds to 8,000. When we do our fraction, we end up with 800 divided by 9. Well, I know the closest multiple is going to be 81, so we're going to take this to 8,100, take out our multiple. Now we have 810 divided by 9, which is going to be 90. Now we have 63 is closer to 60 when we round it. 4,368, we're going to round to 4,000. When I simplify it, 4,000 over 60, take out our multiples of 10, now I have 400 divided by 6. Well, I know 40 is not a multiple of 6. 42 is, because it's either 36 or 42. So 42 is closer, so I'm going to change it to 4,200, take out our multiple of 10. Now we have 420 divided by 6, which is going to be 42 divided by 6 is 7. So our answer is 7. On M, we're rounding 74 to 70. Rounding 60,534 to 7,000. 7,000 over 70, taking out our multiples of 10. We end up with 700 divided by 70. 700 divided by 7, I mean. And 700 divided by 7 will be 100. 48 is going to be closer to 50. 4,998 will be closer to 5,000. 5,000 over 50, taking out our zeros. Now we have 500 divided by 5, which is going to give us 100. And our last problem, 25 is closer to 30. 6,106 is going to be closer to 6,000. 6,000 over 30, taking out our multiples of 10, we end up with 600 divided by 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2, and 2 zeros. Be 200. Question 2. 91 boxes of apples hold a total of 2,605 apples. Assuming each box has about the same number of apples, estimate the number of apples in each box. So let's go back and get the important information. 91 boxes of apples hold a total of 2,605 apples. Assuming each box has about the same number of apples, estimate the number of apples in each box. Now I'm going to draw a diagram. Here's my tape diagram. And I know the total amount was 2,605 apples. And it says 91 boxes. So I'm going to put 2 boxes here. And I know there's 91 of them. And I'm looking for how much are in each box. And I can tell in order to solve this problem, it's going to be 2,605 divided by 91. And that will give me how much was in each box. Now to do an estimation on this, 91 is going to be closer to 90. 2605 is going to be closer to 3,000. Now when I write as a fraction, I have 3,000 over 90. Take these out. Now 30 is not a multiple of 9, but I know there's 27. If I was to count multiples, I'd go 9, 18, 27, and then 36. Now 27 is going to be a lot closer to 30 than 36 is. So I'm going to make this estimate 2,700 over 90. Take out my zeros. Now I have 270 divided by 9. 27 divided by 9 is 3. And we have 1 0. So there's about 30 apples in each box. And we can check this real quick. If we say there's 30 apples and there were we estimated 90 boxes, we can multiply that. 0, 9 times 0 is 0, 9 times 3 is 27. And that is what we estimated it as. Question 3 has multiple answers on this one. A wild tiger can eat up to 55 pounds of meat in a day. About how many days would it take a tiger to eat the following prey? Okay, a tiger can eat 55 pounds of meat a day. So let's estimate how many days would it take a tiger to eat the following prey. So each one of these is the amount, and they can eat 55. So if I was to do tape diagrams, the top all would be total pounds, and then we know 1 day is 55 pounds, and we're wanting to know how many days. And that's going to tell us we're going to have to take total pounds divided by 55 to solve each one of these. So the first one, if I take 1,754 divided by 55, 55 is closer to 60, and 1,754 is going to be closer to 2,000. But I know 2,000 is not close. It is not a compatible number though. Okay, so I'm looking at 17. The closest multiple of set to 6, 12, 18. So I'm going to round this or make it a compatible number of 1,800. So now when I take my 1,800 divided by 60, take out our multiples, I have 180 divided by 6. 18 divided by 6 would be 3 and a 0. So it would be 30 days to eat an antelope. On the next one, we have 661 divided by, we know this is automatically going to be 60 because we're rounded 55. Now, if I round this to 700, that's not going to be a multiple of 6. But I can see 66 would be. So I'm going to round this to 660 divided by 60. And I can say 660 divided by 60, take out the zeros, 66 divided by 6 would be 11 days. Next one is 183 divided by, once again, it's 55, so we'd round it to 60. And I can see, if I rounded this to 200, it's not going to work, but 18 is a multiple of 6. So I'm going to go 180 divided by 60. So 180 divided by 60, take out my multiples, I'm going to end up with 18 divided by 6, which equals 3 days. And our last one, we have 2,322 divided by 60. Now, I can tell that if I round this to 2,000, that's not going to be good for 60. So I'm looking at a multiple of 6 that's close to 23. Well, I know that 6 times 4 is 24. So I'm going to go with 2,400. So when we go 2,400 divided by 60, take out the zeros, I end up with 240 over 6, which equals 24 divided by 6 is 4, add our 0, 40 days.